Warning, this theory does contain spoilers from the Union Cross finale. In the description, I will leave two playlists, one from Everglow and another from KH Insider. The difference between the two is that Everglow shows gameplay and cutscenes, while KH Insider only shows the cutscenes. A special shout out to my partner Taylor. She helped me with some of the images and editing the audio of this video. She makes her own Kingdom Hearts theory and is a talented artist, so check her out when you have the chance. Also, the music for the intro and intermissions is by Aryll Fae, and the song is Meadows in the Sky. Also, I use backtracks from the composer that we all love, Yoko Shimomura. And while I'm at it, thank you Tetsuya Nomura for the wonderful story of KH. In the background, you'll see gameplay from mods, in particular from ZadGX. Sorry if I mispronounced that name, but he made the wonderful mod for Kingdom Hearts 2FM that has Vanitas. There's also a lot of other mods, but I'll be here all day if I try to shout out every single one. But please, if you have any questions, just ask me where I got any of the material I used to help in this video. And I just wanted to give everybody their credit. And with that out of the way, let the theory begin. Enjoy.
My name is
Vanitas?
I've been looking for an inspiration to release a Kingdom Hearts theory, and the latest Union Cross update gives me a feeling that this is the perfect time to release a theory that I've been brainstorming since Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. Ventus is the Master of Masters, or more accurately, aka less clickbaity, Ventus is a part of the Master of Masters. I believe the Master of Masters has split himself into many pieces. To be more specific, he split himself amongst the 7 sins. Lust to Lushu, gluttony to Gula, greed to Ava, sloth to Ased, wrath to Ira, envy to Envy, and pride is for Super? There's no character named Super or even named Pride. Oh wait, actually there is a reference to Super on the chest that the Master of Masters gave to Lushu. Perhaps that's his signature? Possibly, but there's also a character we know very well with the name in reference to Pride. Vanitas, a name deriving from many things, one of which includes the word vanity. Vanitas, noun, origin, Latin, can mean vanity. That covers where at least 7 pieces of the Master of Masters could be. However, not all pieces are equal. I believe that the sin of pride was the biggest piece of all. In fact, the person we primarily know to be the Master Master is the 7th missing sin. He tells Lushu that he is included in the group of 7, and by process of elimination, the Master Master must be the 7th sin.
Come on, it's simple. U6 plus me is 7. Wait, don't tell me I don't count.
No.
He has the piece that is pride. If that is the case, then does it mean Ventus is also a part of the Master Master? He is the farthest thing from being a sin. Well, one thing to consider is that supposedly Vanitas comes from Ventus. So I mean, if Vanitas is the Master Master, then Ventus must be as well. That's a good place to start with this theory, but it isn't so simple and clean. First of all, Vanitas implies in Remind that he was put inside of Ventus.
Vanitas, you're coming home too. Huh? But my home is in you. You know what'll happen, right? I'll just disappear inside of you forever. Don't you have any love at all for your own brother? We're not brothers. We're the same. Huh? You believe that? Then you really are naive. Huh? This may shock you, but we're not the same like you think. I was just hidden deep inside of you for a really long time. All Xehanort did was tear me right out of you. Then go back to where you came from. Make me.
Which leads to my second point. Let's begin by finishing the topic of the foretellers being the pieces of the Master of Masters. In between each chapter of this video, I'll do a little intermission. This will be some final edit notes, pieces of trivia, and even mini theories. I've been working on this since last year. September 2020, and you'd be surprised to see one of the most important details of this theory was actually confirmed before I even released this video. You can actually check the description to find a link to the Google Doc to see how far back I've been working on this theory. I decided to not just insert my revisions into the chapters because I want you to see a viewpoint of my mind prior to the last chapters of Union Cross. I hope you enjoy my very detailed and credible theory. For starters, I believe that the Master of Masters that we see in Kingdom Hearts Key and so forth is incomplete. This form of him is only defined by his sin of pride. We shall call him True Vanitas. So, that begs the question, are the 5 foretellers, Luxu and True Vanitas, just 7 different clones of the one true Master of Masters? Maybe, but I don't believe so. Just think about how Master Xehanort was able to make his 12 other selves.
All of this was decided. My 12 selves would welcome me here on this day, when I would return a complete person.
Xehanort didn't need to clone himself, even though he most likely could have. He deliberately chose other individuals he could put a piece of him inside of, even his own younger self from the past. This is something he could have done to emulate the Master of Masters. In fact, if the Master of Masters were to be the one to have given the foretellers new names, then it'll further go to show how Xehanort was trying to be like him.
I can give you purpose.
Roxas.
That is right, the new you.
So, it's possible that the foretellers are their own people, but were chosen by their Master of Masters to have his sin put inside of. I believe he accomplished this by using the power of lust.
Just as I prepared 13 vessels to fill with pure darkness.
If it's darkness you're looking for, Ventus, then I have more than enough to go around.
And now, the last vessel shall bear my heart like the rest.
The 2 wielders of the Goat Sin Keyblades are body-invading experts after all. This could explain why Luxu and True Vanitas are different than the other 5. I believe the Master of Masters gave a piece of his darkness, aka sin, to each of the 5 foretellers in the same way. In fact, I don't think he changed how he did it for Luxu either. However, what makes Luxu special is the aftermath of giving away his second last sin, as well as how significant the power of lust is. Luxu had to be someone that the Master of Masters especially trusted, because he was giving away his second most important sin. He would no longer be able to give out pieces of himself the same way once he bequeathed lust to Luxu. This is a topic I would like to dive into deeper, however, it isn't relevant to this theory. Let's just say I think Luxu is related to the Master of Master in a more special way than we previously thought of. That covers where 6 of the Master's sins went, but what of the 7th? When I first wrote this theory, I was only speculating that the Master of Masters put darkness in himself, the foretellers, and Luxu. I was pleasantly surprised by the Union Cross finale to find out that this isn't just my speculation, but is actually confirmed by the Master of Masters himself. There are 13 darkness, and 7 of which are the sins, so what are the 6 remaining? It's been a week and a half for me to theorize, but I do have something. By the way, I haven't watched any of the new installments of Unicross for a good while now, I guess about a year. Also, I don't play the game. I'm just not interested in mobile games. I binge watched the entire story days before the finale came out. Anyway, my theory as of now is that the 6 darknesses are the stages of grief, or in other words, acceptance of loss and or death. Acceptance is the last of the 7 stages. The 6 that came before it could be the 6 darknesses. 4 of the darknesses got sealed away by the player. 2 of them are elsewhere. I'm gonna talk about one that is linked to Ventus later. There is another that was dealt with by Luxu. I believe this one could be anger, or alternatively known as rage. This one used to belong to Riku, but now is inside Sora. Just a random theory that has nothing to do with the main one. So let's get back to that. The Master of Masters is down to one sin left. I guess he could call it a day since he's already the 7th sin. However, giving up so much of himself may have left his heart and body unstable. He might need something to fix him, something that could fill in the blanks of his incomplete self. Now, before I continue, please understand that when I refer to the Master of Masters, I'm talking about before Kingdom Hearts Key, not the person we see in Kingdom Hearts Key and so forth. I'm going to try my best to refer to him as true Vanitas when we are talking about the Master we see in Kingdom Hearts Key. It's a difficult territory to explore and present because the Master I'm talking about prior to Kingdom Hearts Key is hypothetical and without appearance. But to make things more confusing, you can easily say the same about the Master in Kingdom Hearts Key because he's just a hooded figure. So please try to keep in mind, for the sake of this theory, that at one point he had a complete body and then later down the line he gave up a significant amount of his pieces, eventually needing to give up that last part of himself, that last sin to someone or even something. Obviously, the vessel I'm referring to is Ventus. In Ventus's introduction to Union Cross, he mentions that he has no friends and has always been on his own. This is important because there's no person to corroborate, no alibi, no body to say the origins or where Ventus came from. No one can truly say if he's always been there or maybe he just appeared there. All we can go as far back is to when Strelitzia was murdered. But that's right before the Keyblade War, right before Union Cross. We really don't know where or why Ventus is where he is. This is just something important to keep in mind for the rest of this theory. Why would Ventus be lucky number 7? Here are various hypotheticals to give possible explanations for why the Master chose Ventus to bestow his most powerful sin. Scenario 1. Ventus just simply is the Master when he is void of sin, besides pride. This means after the events of the Keyblade War, true Vanitas either forgot his true name and more memories. In this case, Vanitas exists so long as true Vanitas isn't awoken, aka Ventus is birthed by sleep. Or Ventus is playing the fool and he truly is Vanitas and is faking amnesia. I'm not inclined to believe that he's either, especially not him faking it. I believe Vanitas when he implies that they aren't the same. I think they are related but separate. Scenario 2. Whether it be for a specific reason or at random, the Master chose Ventus to be his final vessel. We could assume the Master of Masters took over his identity similar to what Master Xehanort did to Terra, or more relevant, what Vanitas did to Ventus in Birth by Sleep. With this in mind, Ventus is either someone that had a prior relationship with the Master and voluntarily gave up his body, or his body was taken without Ventus being aware, thus the Master stole Ventus's body. I like to entertain the thought of both C and D. I could see either being the case, and overall, I believe scenario 2 is more likely than 1. Scenario 3. Ventus was created by the Master of Masters to contain his incomplete self. With this in mind, Ventus could have either been created as a non-sentient shell before the Master put himself inside of the vessel, or Ventus was given some sort of autonomy before the Master took over his body. This is the scenario I am most on board with. I will further elaborate in the next section.
Ven! What? Who are you? Darkness? Vanitas?
A part of my theory was confirmed. Ventus was destined to be a vessel for darkness. That darkness that we see possesses Ventus in Union Cross most certainly seems to be Vanitas. However, I'm not convinced. My first reason is because of the math. 13 minus 7 equals 6. Okay, so there are 13 darkness, 7 of those are the sins. We already talked about that. The Sins have vessels already, which are the 5, Foretellers, Luxu, and True Vanitas. There are 6 other darknesses, however, these 6 aren't a mystery. We know Luxu dealt with 1, 4 got sealed away by the player character, and the 6th was dealt with by Ventus. You might say that the 6th that I'm referring to could be the Master's Pride, aka Vanitas, which isn't out of the realm of possibility, but would contradict what True Vanitas said. If one of the 6 formless darknesses was also one of the 7 sins that is already sealed inside the Master, then that would make for a total of 12, not 13. I'll elaborate more in the next intermission why I don't think that the darkness is Vanitas. A topic I want to explore in the future is looking into the bigger picture when it comes to what each world in Kingdom Hearts represents. I believe each and every world is chosen because it somehow relates to the overall theme and endgame of Kingdom Hearts. I say this to draw attention to Pinocchio and Baymax. Pinocchio is a character that is jam-packed with symbolism that is meant to reflect many concepts throughout Kingdom Hearts.
First, we need a vessel. Don't bother. This puppet has lost his heart. He won't wake up.
He's not a puppet! Baymax is like my family. Please, give me back my friend.
Yes.
Huh?
I did promise I'd put this back where I found it.
And Baymax is used to re-emphasize the allegories. Nobodies, replicas, data copies, puppets, and all the various names for an empty vessel is meant to be filled with purpose. A doll meant to serve is Ventus's true form.
To you, the name Vanitas shall be given.
Yes, Master.
He was created by the Master of Masters. Given the difference between scenarios E and F, a good question to ask is whether Ventus was given his own consciousness before or after True Vanitas entered the vessel. Either could be true because of a certain plushie. I'm more inclined to believe Ventus started out with his own mind. However, we'll get into that more later. Right now, I just want to focus on Ventus being the first nobody. Truly a nobody, a person that never existed and isn't a real being. It was said that in order for someone like Saïx to rejoin the organization, he had to become a nobody. This was so Master Xehanort could fill Saïx's body with a part of him. Given the fact that the members of the true Organization 13 had gold eyes, it is safe to assume he filled them with darkness. With that being said, let's point our attention to Baymax. The one that Dark Riku retrieved was an empty shell until he filled it with darkness. I believe this could be seen as a foreshadowed explanation for Ventus's origin. It was said that the Master of Masters disappeared without a trace, but maybe he was hidden and sealed within someone or something. True Vanitas is sleeping within Ventus, and someone even tried to wake him up. Another reason why it wouldn't make sense for that darkness to be Vanitas is that it would imply that the Master is a fool. Why would he go through the trouble of sealing away his darkness only for it to escape Ventus later? That's just so reckless, especially when you consider the Sin of Pride would be the most powerful darkness, most likely more powerful for anybody other than the Master himself to be able to deal with. Now you might be wondering, if Ventus seemingly absorbed the darkness in Union Cross, where is that darkness? Well, it's still inside of Ventus. In Remind, Sora confronts a darkness inside of Ventus, to which Sora guesses is Vanitas. However, that darkness does not confirm they are Vanitas. Thus, it is left up to speculation. Somehow, someway, Master Xehanort got his hands on Ventus. Where did he get Ventus from, and why did he choose him? Well, since we know Ventus is from the past, perhaps it was time travel. When you consider that Ventus could be an artificial being, it then opens up the door to the possibility that he was recreated. That could mean the Ventus in Birth by Sleep is a fake. However, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Master Xehanort could have found the pieces of Ventus that created him in the first place and put them back together. As for why he picked Ventus, I believe it's because he somehow knew that Ventus is true Vanitas. In fact, I believe Xehanort even knew that Xigbar was Lushu. But that's a topic for another day. Is it possible that true Vanitas himself told Ventus his name?
So, your name?
What did I just...
Never mind. I guess there's no harm. My name is...
Empty creature from Ventus Riven. To you, the name Vanitas shall be given.
Yes, Master.
That's why he named Ventus's darkness Vanitas. He was really trying to remind him of who he was and turn him back into true Vanitas. Ventus's darkness is his true inner self, hence why the dark part of him is known as Vanitas. Meanwhile, the false light is his outer shell that contains the true darkness within him. This part of him was given the name of Ventus. Birth by Sleep has been out for over a decade, and something that I don't see many bring up is the fact that Master Xehanort was so sure that Ventus could summon the Keyblade.
Haven't you ever wondered?
What is so special about Ventus that he of all people could summon the legendary Keyblade by embracing his darkness? This leads to my next point. So we see in the Union Cross finale that Ventus is sent to the Badlands and a mysterious figure approaches him. However, there is much more needed to understand how he ended up in Master Xehanort's hands. We don't know at what point in time Ventus was sent to. We don't know the mysterious figure. We don't know how it is Ventus woke up from his coma. This theory really isn't about how Master of Masters found Ventus, but something to consider is that when sent to the future, the characters supposedly lose their body, and it's really only shown how Maleficent gets her body back. So the Ventus we know in Birth by Sleep may not even be Ventus we see in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. Like I said, he could have been recreated from his original pieces. However, that's not the only way. Apparently, all the people of Daybreak Town had their data saved, so everyone, even those that died like Strelitzia, can have their body recreated with data.
Ah, yes. So you're starting to realize what you lost. Oh, but not for good. You had to lose in order to find. Now it can all be yours again if you only reach out and take it. Reclaim the part that left you. Clash with him. Pure light against pure darkness to forge the ultimate key. The all-powerful Keyblade!
Keyblade?
Not the Keyblades you and I carry. Key, the most ancient mirror. Some say Kai, but the meaning is the same. Death, a letter that spells endings.
And I have the power to make it?
Correct. Ericus knows it too. He knows exactly what you are.
The Master?
Haven't you ever wondered why he never granted you permission to leave his side? To grow stronger. Ericus was frightened of you. If you were to learn the truth, realize what you are, he never trusted you. Why else would he keep you within his sight at all times?
Yeah. He never let me see other worlds, no matter how much I asked.
Learn the truth, and remember you have a greater purpose!
The Master had a Keyblade like no other. No, I'm not talking about the no-name or gazing eye or whatever you want to call it. That Keyblade represents the goat sin of lust, thus it belongs to Lucio. It was bequeathed to him by true Vanitas. Lucio acquired his Keyblade the same way all foretellers got theirs. In fact, the Master made all Keyblades in the image of his true Keyblade. The one true
Keyblade!
Some call it the X-Blade, and for the sake of this video, I will too. Now, this whole theory is on the premise that the foretellers have been given the Master sin, but what does that actually do for them? An easy answer is that it makes them more powerful. However, Kingdom Hearts isn't that simple of a story. I believe it granted them specific abilities such as the power of lust being used to invade and take over other bodies. In addition to that, it allows them to be able to wield a real Keyblade. A common theme in the theory of Kingdom Hearts in general is the concept of real and fake. You should check out my video called Deep Dive Case Xemnas to see a mind-blowing revelation about nobodies. A huge part of Kingdom Hearts is figuring out what is and isn't real. Do enough digging and you may find out that although your thoughts may be weird, they are still credible. Anyway, there's one true Keyblade, known as what we'll call the X-Blade, and with that blade, only one person is worthy of wielding it. However, because he was giving a piece of himself to his disciple, they could also wield a true Keyblade. And yes, that does imply that virtually all of the Keyblades are fake. I do think that there are some exceptions, but that's just another topic for another day. This part of my theory makes so much sense after what was revealed in the Union Cross finale. There are 13 darknesses and 7 lights that make up the fragments of what was once the true X-Blade. So, if the 7 sins are darknesses that are fragments of the actual X-Blade, it would make sense that they would be an exception and have true Keyblades.
These warriors crafted Keyblades in the image of the original Keyblade, and waged a great war over Kingdom Hearts. As for the real Keyblade, it did not survive the battle. The 2 elements that created it, one of darkness and one of light, shattered into 20 pieces, 7 of light, 13 of darkness.
Also, something big to note about Ventus is that he had a heart pure of light in Union Cross. This was way before Master Xehanort took Vanitas out of Ventus. How is this possible? Also, Ventus seemed to have merged with darkness, which led to him going into a comatose state. This is very odd considering him being separated from darkness and birth by sleep almost led to his death. Just some food for thought for now. Master Xehanort wanted to be like the Master, so it's no surprise he even wanted his idol's weapon.
Keyblade!
The greedy old man couldn't settle for just no name. That's why he trained Ventus.
Please don't do this, Master! I'm not strong enough!
No. It is because you're trying to hold it in. Let the dark impulses waken in the pit of your heart. Release them here and now. Sharpen your fear into rage. You must. If you do not let the storm within you run its course, it will wipe you from the face of the world. Make no mistake. Do it. Embrace the darkness. Produce for your master the Keyblade. Really? You would rather die than use the power. Feckless neophyte. If I must, I will extract the darkness from within you myself.
It was more than just wanting a strong vessel. And when you consider the identity of true Vanitas, then it only makes sense that Ventus and Vanitas combining would wield the X-Blade. It's as if they have been recompleted to become true Vanitas once again. Look at the symbol of the Master of Masters. One angel wing and one demon wing. You know, like a balance of light and dark. The same thing that the X-Blade is meant to represent. In fact, Doesn't the Master of Masters symbol look like the X-Blade? Maybe it's just me. To really emphasize this point, let's dissect Ventus' character from his appearance and his thematic attributes. Riku also has a heavy association with wings, both the angel and demon variety, but I'm purposely avoiding that in this theory because it's its own can of worms. I will touch that one day in another theory. Same thing with Sora's relation to Ventus and the Master of Masters. It's just too much to talk about for now, but I will cover it in the future. Something I noticed about the Master design is so minor but could have huge implications. First off, he seems to be the originator of the iconic black coat. And if you notice, that design was retconned ever since back cover. The reason I know this is retcon is because even Lee in Kingdom Hearts 3 has the new design, and I highly doubt Xehanort went out of his way to give Lee the latest fashion. The design of the zipper looks like a combination of two symbols, first being the unversed symbol, and second being the Mark of Mastery symbol, or at least that's what it's called on the wiki. I'm not sure if the symbol has an official name. I've also seen it called Terrace Mark, but whatever it is, the point is that the zipper appears to have aspects from both symbols that are associated with Ventus and Vanitas. Also, the design is similar to the Master symbol on the Book of Prophecies, as well as the X-Blade. All three have an X, which leads into a blade at the bottom. Only in Kingdom Hearts can we make such a big deal over a zipper. Also, to simplify things, instead of calling it a zipper, I will call it a zipper. Zipper spelled with an X. No way that could be confusing, right?
Keyblade!
Ventus, as we know him, has a pure heart of light. However, that wasn't always the case. At one point in time, he had a normal heart. This was when Xehanort found him. Notice his outfit? It's black and white, as if he was always meant to represent a balance between light and dark. Then Ventus had his darkness, aka Vanitas, removed and he became an empty shell, before having some of Sora's light give him a fixed heart. I have questions I want to propose but won't go too deep into. First, if Ventus was doomed because his heart was incomplete after his darkness was removed, then how come Vanitas was fine with his incomplete heart? Secondly, if Ventus needed darkness to survive, how come it was receiving more light that actually fixed his heart? These are questions not fully answered, but I believe can be pondered upon to paint a fuller picture. Anyhow, moving on. Ventus being the light part of true Vanitas is not surprising given how heavily he is associated with light and angel wings. He has a heart pure of light and uses a transformation known as Wing Blade. The teeth of Wayward Wing looks like a mechanical wing, and even the token of his keychain resembles wings. The most significant is the Keyblade known as Lost Memory. Within the context of Birth by Sleep, you would think that this is just referring to him losing his memories from when he was trained by Xehanort. But given what we know from Union Cross, it seems it could be deeper than that. At the tip of Lost Memories, you can find a fleur-de-lis. It is a flower of a lily and represents purity and rebirth. After Sora fixed Ventus's heart, you can see that his heart station has fleur-de-lis all over it. And then, if you look at the heart station that represents the 5 foretellers and the Master of Masters, you can see fleur-de-lis on those as well. And just look at the stained glass windows in the office or room of the Master of Masters. Again, you can see fleur-de-lis all over. It's just so present. It just goes to show how important Ventus is to the main story of Kingdom Hearts and the Master of Masters. There are many significant things about a fleur-de-lis that can be tied back to Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. First off, Ventus joins the dandelions, which is all about flowers. Secondly, it implies that Ventus could be someone that was reborn without sin, which makes perfect sense according to this theory, since I claim that Ventus is the part of true Vanitas that is without his sin of pride. Thirdly, you can actually find fleur-de-lis in Daybreak Town, and are super heavily scattered throughout Scala. I think it's safe to assume that the Master of Masters is the one that designed and created Daybreak Town, and possibly even Scala. Another thing to point out is the blade displayed a broken heart and a single angel wing. It's as if it's a broken version of the Master of Masters symbol. Side note, You can even relate Vanitas' Keyblade to Daybreak Town and the Master Master. This is because Void Gear has a clock theme and the Gazing Eye, the same eye you would find on all of the Sin's Keyblade. And gears are not only found in the Daybreak Tower, but also in the underwater section of the armored Xehanort boss battle in Kingdom Hearts 3. So this intermission is really me covering info that should have been a part of the main portion to begin with. There's the third Keyblade that I failed to mention is attributed to Ventus. Besides Wayward Wind and Lost Memory, Ventus also has been associated with the Missing Ache. Missing Ache is a Keyblade introduced in 358 over 2 days and reintroduced in Union Cross. Right off the bat, this is significant to Ventus and this theory because this Keyblade represents nobodies, and as I said before, Ventus is the original nobody. Second significance is the name, Missing Ache. Clearly Ventus is missing something, and that something is Vanitas, and it even causes him pain. Ventus had darkness during his time in the Dandelion, but as I said earlier, I don't believe that darkness to be Vanitas. I mean, just think about it. If he had the darkness at the time, he wouldn't be missing it. The third thing is the carousel of Missing Ache. A Keyblade carousel is a menu board used to upgrade the Keyblades. Now just look at the design of it. Angel and demon wings. Need I say more? Chirithys are dream meters created by the Master and given to nearly every Keyblade wielder during the Age of Fairy Tales. Even all the foretellers had their own. The only possible exception is Lushu. Since Ventus is from the Age of Fairy Tale, it is no surprise that he has his very own Chirithy. However, consider this. Would true Vanitas have his own Chirithy? If he did, wouldn't his Chirithy be special? A Master Chirithy befitting the Master of Masters. This special Chirithy may not necessarily look different, but is more capable than the average Chirithy. The Master of Masters Chirithy may have already presented itself. Think about the final world. It clearly resembles heaven. Certainly not just any old world. It's a special place of grand stature. And anybody that had authority over this world must be incredible. I say this because when Sora enters the final world, he is met with Ventus' Chirithy. The question is, why would Chirithy be in a place like this? Not only that, but why does Chirithy know so much about this place?
The name's Chirithy, and this is the final world.
I'm Sora. What's the final world?
There's nothing else beyond this. You've wandered here more than once before on your visits to the Station of Awakening, but I let that slide. The edges of sleep and death touch, and one can't help the occasional crossover. Usually, only a heart can reach the final world. But since you've clearly managed to retain some kind of form, that can only mean your body was cast into this world as well.
Okay, so then if I can find my body, that means I'll be able to go back?
Precisely. But there's a lot of you to find. You're going to be busy.
Wait a sec. Say that one more time.
You've wandered here more than once before on your visits to the Station of Awakening, but I let that slide.
Chirithy let it slide? Whoa, that is giving me strong Keyblade vibes. In fact, have I heard this before, or at least something similar?
Can't let that slide?
It's almost as if Chirithy has control over who is allowed in the final world. A Chirithy that powerful would be one I could see belonging to true Vanitas.
Then isn't it time that you left?
Oh, thanks.
What? I'm doing you a big favor here, you know. Don't push it.
Also consider this. Why was it that only Ventus' Chirithy was there? Why not the others that showed up in Kingdom Hearts 3? Like Ephemer, Larium, Alrena, or the Foreteller's Chirithys present. It was specifically only Ventus' Chirithy that was there in the final world. I believe this is the case because that is the one true original Chirithy made for and by the Master of Masters. All the other Chirithys were clones of this one and disappeared long ago. It's possible that Chirithy is not only waiting for Ventus, but for Ventus to retrieve his lost memories and recomplete himself in turning back into true Vanitas. What is the relationship between Chirithy and Ventus? Since they have the same creator, you could consider them siblings. Another way of looking at it is that they are best friends. A Dream Eater can be a best friend, just look at Sora and Riku. Given that I believe nobodies are Dream Eaters, I don't believe it would be too far off to say that Ventus is a Dream Eater. What if Ventus' original form was that of a toy like Dream Eater, before true Vanitas took over his body? That's crazy, but I wouldn't expect anything less from Kingdom Hearts. Endless speculation aside, I believe their relationship is another big theme you can see expressed in the Disney worlds. Alright, so we all saw that one part with the Dream Eaters and the Union Cross finale, right? Man, I thought that Kingdom Hearts Key had a dark ending, with all those kids dying in the war. But there's something just a little more unsettling about the dandelions passing on to be Dream Eaters. I think it's because they were none the wiser as to why the world was ending. Things are peaceful one minute and then chaotic the next. Also, it goes to show their story doesn't end there. They spent for who knows how long living their lives as plushies. However, there may be something darker. I see many assuming that the Dream Eaters we play alongside in Dream Drop Distance could be past Keyblade wielders, or the dandelions. However, I haven't seen many talking about the nightmares. Consider this, the Dream Eaters that join our team in Dream Drop Distance are the ones that we create, by putting together the pieces and the ingredients. However, it's actually the nightmares that are already present in the realm of sleep. So perhaps it's the nightmares that were once the Keyblade wielders, and we're actually fighting them. First off, let's look at the theme of Dream Eaters. They embody fun. They are basically animated plushies, creatures befitting imaginative dreams. They are loyal companions that are sentient and deserve to be loved and forever cherished. There is a point to be made at the end of Dream Drop Distance.
There! You're the best!
I remember dreaming a lot. Of you and Terra. Of Sora and his friends too, I think. And there were some more people I didn't recognize. Oh, and I saw these weird animal creatures.
Sora made sure to show his friends that he remembers and appreciates them. Once again, looking at Pinocchio, who is a toy that deserves to be treated as somebody rather than a nobody. Let's also look at the theme of Toy Story in Kingdom Hearts 3. It shows the effects of what happens to toys when they are separated from the ones who play with them. And most significantly, Winnie the Pooh. Pooh the teddy bear is the toy most similar to Dream Eaters. Fun fact, Winnie the Pooh is based off a real teddy bear, and I believe this is relevant in showing off the parallels between the relationship between Sora and Pooh compared to Ventus and Chirithy. Sora is a stand-in for Christopher Robin, who also happens to be a real boy. He is the son of the author that created Winnie the Pooh. Like a father gifting a toy to his son, the Master of Masters may have given Chirithy to Ventus. Ventus doesn't show up in the Kingdom Hearts Key games until after the Keyblade War, so it begs the question, where was he all that time? I believe he was separated from everyone else, secluded but not alone. He was safe in a dreamlike world with his friend Chirithy, free to play in peace and not worry about the outside world, much like every time Sora goes to 100 Acre Woods. 100 Acre Woods is one of the most frequent worlds appearing in Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3.
I'm so glad you're okay, Pooh.
And I'm glad you came to visit. But you see, I was just about to begin my stoutness exercises. Perhaps we could visit a bit later. Somebody I don't know.
Oh, sure. So, how's Piglet these days?
I don't think I know anyone by that name. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, my stoutness exercises.
Pooh? Hey, Pooh? Something very weird is happening here.
I wonder who that is. Oh well, perhaps I'll remember tomorrow.
A recurring theme within the 100 Acre Woods is lost friends, memory loss, and dealing with separation. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, Pooh says,
Sora, don't forget, we shall always be here. If you'd like to visit again, that is.
It's as if Pooh already has in mind that Sora may not want to come back and be with him again. Then in Kingdom Hearts 2, Pooh says,
So, what were you doing here?
I was thinking, perhaps there's a way to make it so you won't go away.
You mean a way to make me stay?
Yes. Would there be such a thing as a way to make it so you don't go away again?
Pooh. Don't worry. I promise I'll come back and visit you now and then.
Could you make it now and now instead? That seems a bit better to me. Sora, if I go looking for you, will I find you?
I'll always be with you. Right here. You don't have to go anywhere. Just stay here, and you can see me anytime you want.
You mean I just have to stay right here?
Yep, that's all.
Would you promise?
Promise.
You're leaving?
Yes, I really have to go.
Well, I won't be sad, because you'll always be right here forever and ever, right, Sora?
And all of you are right here too. See ya.
Pooh really wants Sora to be with him forever and ever. He doubts Sora being able to find his way back if Sora were to leave. Pooh is worried about the prospect of having to wait for Sora to come back to him. Sora makes Pooh feel better by telling him that he is in their hearts. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, Pooh has new fears.
Sora? You used to be right here. Why is it that you went away?
Away? Oh, that's what you meant by your home.
Yes. You see, when I get a rumbly in my tumbly, it's very hard to think of anything but honey. So I was worried that I might have forgotten you away.
Silly bear, I'd never.
Oh, good. Because I want us to be together forever.
Pooh, we are together. There isn't a second that we're not. Except I can feel it. Our connection's weaker. Why is that?
What's wrong, Sora?
Oh, it's nothing. What matters is I'll be here from now on. No going away.
Thank you, Sora.
He isn't scared that Sora wouldn't want to come back anymore, but he does worry that they could forget each other. Sora even acknowledges that their connection is weaker. The lesson to take away from this is that things won't always be the same. However, despite the way you connect to a person changing, it is the strength of your bond that can remain the same. Aww. But we're not here for a sweet moral. This isn't Deep Dive. So, how does this relate to Ventus? Well, everything I just described is what was happening between Ventus and Chirithy.
Hey, Chirithy! you still look like you, right? Would you like me to help you find your pieces?
Oh, I don't work like that.
So, like, you're waiting for someone to rescue you?
Sort of?
Well, tell me who. I'll find him. Huh?
No. That's okay. He doesn't remember the past. Besides, I'm sure that he's much happier with his new friends. But I'll wait. He'll arrive here one day.
Okay. I'll be back to visit you.
What?
You and me are friends now.
Really? I've missed having friends.
Well, see you around. And thanks. Chirithy, we're heading home. You should come with us.
What?
Take it from me. It's not enough to wait for someone you care about. It's true that hearts are connected wherever you are. If it's impossible to be together, then all you can do is wait. But if it is possible to be together, then that's how it should be.
Sora.
You know, this really is a beautiful place, but you'd enjoy it so much more with someone you care about. Before, when I was looking around with Kairi, I remembered how important it is to share moments with friends. That's why you're coming with us. I'm taking you to see your friend, Chirithy. Okay, let's go.
Also, like Pooh Bear, Chirithy has a strong connection to books. Book of Prophecy is obviously one. In addition, Chirithy is the narrator of the books used in the memory archive. Ventus has seemingly very special connection to Chirithy, and his Chirithy happens to be special. Put two and two together and it leads to Ventus having a very special relationship with the Master of Masters. All things considered, I believe this is a solid theory, and before I end this, I would like to say that yes, I'm well aware the millions of Sora is the Master of Masters theory, and I for sure believe that Sora is connected to the Master of Masters. It's only obvious given how similar he is to Ventus and Vanitas. I will dive deeper into that topic in the future. My hint as to where I'm going with this theory can best be described in one word as reincarnation. I repeat, and I mean I repeat, that part about reincarnation is something I theorized before the Union Cross finale was out, so I was pleasantly surprised to see that reincarnation is a fact of thing in Kingdom Hearts. As we see, Xehanort is implied to be the reincarnation of the player. This is something I believed for a long time, actually. It wouldn't be Kingdom Hearts if things weren't complicated, so don't be surprised if Xehanort simply isn't just the reincarnation of the player character. There could be more going on. I believe there could be a mix and match thing happening. My prediction is that there may be some of Lushu in Xehanort. This isn't a new concept to Kingdom Hearts either. Just look at Roxas dominating Xemnas. Roxas isn't just Sora reborn. There's Ventus mixed in there too. I'll elaborate more on this in the future. But I believe that Riku and Ienzo both could be the reincarnation of Brain, at least in some part. So not only do I believe that you can be the reincarnation of more than one person, but also you can be reincarnated into more than one person. Enough of that though. What about Meow Wow? Who is Sora's trusted Meow Wow? My guess is Ephemer. Just like how Meow Wow will spawn a whole bunch of other Dream Eaters, Ephemer showed up and brought a whole bunch of Keyblades with him. I have one last thing to close this out, and that's a fun fact that I want to share with you. Wayward Wind is named after a song. Here's an excerpt from that song. Oh, I met him in a border town. He vowed we'd never part. Though he tried his best to settle down, I'm now alone with a broken heart. And the wayward wind is a restless wind that yearns to wander. He was born the next of kin to the wayward wind. The song is about departure and heartbreak, a huge theme of Kingdom Hearts, and possibly a clue into the motivation of the Master of Masters.
Not long after that, the Master vanished, dimmed, and faded without a trace.
That's it for Food for Thought, but if you'd like to hear me elaborate more, then stick around for the secret ending. Would like Food for Thought? Then check out the rest of my channel. Want to see some actually well thought out analyses and theories with a bunch of evidence to back them up? Well then check out my series Deep Dive. Thanks for watching. Today's secret ending is just me talking about the past, present, and future. So first of all, if this is your first video, I highly recommend you go back and see my previous videos on Kingdom Hearts, especially one known as Deep Dive Case Xemnas. It is super long. I mean, it's an hour long, many chapters just like this, but even more detail, if you can imagine that. And it just has a great beginning, middle, and end, where I just break down who Xemnas is and his true motivation. You know, going to show why he isn't just simply a villain, but really trying to be a hero of his own right. And I even talk about the allegories and morals that I believe Tetsuya Nomura is trying to teach. And I just have a bunch of various other fun theories about how I believe that there could have been two Kairis, which is why their Kairi and Naminé could exist. Things like that of that nature. Presently, I don't have any Kingdom Hearts videos in the works. However, if you happen to be a fan of One Piece, or if you're just a fan of this channel in general, I am working on 2 One Piece videos. One I've been working on forever, and it's going to come out eventually, which is known as Deep Dive Doflamingo, and another, which I've also been working on forever, and is going to come out much sooner, is my part 4 of Understanding Hockey, and the whole theme of that video is really going into what are the origins of Devil Fruit, and how is it that a person like Zoro or Sanji or Shanks could develop their own power like a Devil Fruit without actually having to eating a Devil Fruit. And far off into the future, something I'm not working on right now, but I do have plans to make, especially for the fans of Kingdom Hearts, is a deep dive on Ansem. That's going to be after the Doflamingo one. So a deep dive on Ansem, I have a video I want to make called King of Heartless, where I talk about how Sora might one day become like a King of Heartless or something like that. A video called The Seekers of Lights, in which I talk about the Foretellers, just other stuff of that nature. So I do have plans for Kingdom Hearts in the future. I'm just not currently working on it right now. But please stay tuned. What you're about to watch is one chapter of many. To find the full episode of Deep Dive, go head over to my YouTube channel, elisdeezee. Enjoy this chapter.
The heart has always been quick to grow. Each exposure to light, to the natural world, to other people, shapes this most malleable part inside of us. Nobody's are not different from us in that manner.
For the sake of me getting to my point, just assume that 1. Fake hearts are actually a thing, and 2. Fake hearts do not produce a heartless. But just stick with me because sometimes you gotta jump across gaps to see what's on the other side. Now, if these fake hearts do not produce heartless, that's an advantage nobodies would have over somebodies. That makes for the first half of why a realm of nothing inhabited by nobodies would be superior in Xemnas' eyes. Now for the second half, we'd have to understand the significance of sleep to nobodies.
Look who's finally awake.
Axel!
Or maybe I have it wrong. Might be time to sleep. Soon we won't be able to talk like this anymore.
Does that mean it's time for me to go back to where I belong?
Sleep represents them coming to terms with nature and the role they play in it. A lot like death, however, the difference is that nobodies were never supposed to exist. Thus, they can't die with the life they never had. AKA, they have no afterlife.
I've been running away from the question I really want to ask. What's gonna happen to me now? Just tell me that. Nothing else really matters anymore.
Roxas and Naminé survived Kingdom Hearts 2 by rejoining with their somebodies. But it was bittersweet because they weren't free to live their own lives, or pass on. Xemnas identifies as a nobody and wants to save the nobodies. By turning them into somebodies, he'd be doing the opposite. He'd be eliminating the nobodies. Instead, he wanted to make a realm of nothing, aka a realm of sleep. I just keep adding more and more onto this, aren't I? I bet some of you are thinking, man, he just want to keep saying keywords to make his theory sound good. But I promise you, this all comes together. Remember at the beginning, I was rambling on about nobodies could be dandelions or dust, and that dreams are comparable to personifying a nobody's existence. Well, here's where it all culminates. When you compare the two in the simplest of terms, a realm of nothing is empty while the realm of sleep is full of something. How they are similar is in the fact that nothing matters or is real in these realms.
In the sleeping worlds, real time does not flow. Unless one restores the world by waking it from its slumber, it will stay locked in a dream forever. Thus, you may encounter familiar faces, but they are just figments of the dream. In actuality, they are sound asleep, trapped within a world that is also sleeping. What's more, whilst someone may no longer dwell in the real version of a world, dreams may paint a fuller picture and restore what seems to be missing.
Let's turn our attention to Castle Oblivion. Inside the building are a room full of nothing. However, with the help of memories, they become something. In addition, accurate body doubles are created. A nobody's heart, when first born, is vacant. But with the help of memories, a heart can occupy their bodies. When you sleep, nothing could be happening in your mind. However, you dream based off of memories. In a realm of nothing, the memories of their occupants would turn the place into a dream world, aka a realm of sleep. The nobodies already fill the criteria of being body doubles, and it would be their memories that would create their environment.
Got it memorized?
It's the perfect place for them because nobodies are dream eaters. Yeah, I'm going there. I know that comes out of left field, but I got receipts, so here's the tea. First, which of the two dream eaters are they? Well, that's easy. Yensid called them spirits, so obviously they are the spirit dream eaters.
They are called dream eaters. And there are two kinds. Nightmares, which devour happy dreams, and benevolent spirits, which consume the nightmares. An empty vessel whose heart has been stolen away. A spirit that goes on even as its body fades from existence. For you see...
Second, dream eaters can be created, and you can see the exact same thing for nobodies. They are called replicas. Third, dream eaters and nobodies behave the same. It's in the way they are nurtured. The first thing you do when you get a dream eater is name it. The game insists this is important, and Xemnas would agree with that when it comes to nobodies. Let's call back to Chapter 4, in which memories and the way nobodies are treated affect the growth of a nobody's heart. Just replace memory with dream and nobody with spirit dream eater, and you got yourself a solved equation. You see, dream eaters have this heart bar, and you have two jobs. You want to make sure that the denominator, aka the size of the heart, grows. You also want to make sure that the numerator, or in other words, the capacity of the heart, stays full. And just like how a nobody could have a fiery heart, a cold heart, or a pale light for a heart, dream eaters of the same kind can differ. It's all based on their disposition. Keyword, disposition. Alright, Xemnas, take it away.
Indeed. A heart is never lost for good. There may have been variances in our dispositions, but a number of us unquestionably showed signs of a burgeoning replacement. once born, the heart can also be nurtured.
I can understand you being skeptical if you're thinking the obvious. How can they be dream eaters if they exist in the real world? If I wanted to be cheeky with you, I'd say, well, how do you know what is or isn't real? But my actual answer is, while it's true the dream eaters existing outside of the dream wouldn't make sense, you could say the same about nobody's existence. The fact that nihilism exists is a contradiction in of itself. The inconsistency is its consistency. They are non-beings despite existing. They are spirits despite living. And they are dream eaters despite being in the waking world. And this is my brain on Kingdom Hearts. Also, Chirithy is a thing, so...
Master, did you make this? It's so cute!
Well, things are gonna get pretty hectic around here soon. But this spirit Chirithy is gonna make your lives much easier. Hopefully.
Spirit?
But one thing is really obvious. It's that the two species look way different. Nobodies are colorless, while Dream Eaters are very colorful. That's because the Dream Eaters are unchained. They are the balloons that the nobodies want to be. This is precisely why Xemnas wanted to cover the world in a pale light. He wanted to create a blank canvas with no prejudice, where anyone can be anything they like. Start from nothing, become something. No reality, only dreams. Hey, did you like the chapter? Then go check out the entire episode on my YouTube channel, elisdeezee. It may be long, but I split it up into chapters and have table of contents just for your convenience. There's a lot of detail and hard work that went into this. I promise you, it's well worth it. As a community, let's show the world just how amazing and how serious they can take our favorite characters and stories. It will change the way you perceive and appreciate the story. These questions are not fully answered, but I believe they can be pondered upon. That's such a... Why did I write that? Pondered upon. But I'll keep it in because it sounds funny. Okay. These questions are not fully answered, but I believe they can be pondered upon to paint a... It's so silly. Okay. These questions are not fully answered, but okay. These questions are not fully answered, but I believe they can be pondered upon to paint a fuller picture. There's so many P sounds. Pondered upon to paint a fully picture. Okay.